Oh, hi, and we're back. Joining us for yet another episode of Singular, where we, of course, discuss Record of the Year. And as we teased out earlier, this is, of course, a very special episode of Singular. What makes this episode so special? We're all in it together. Joining you as usual, I'm Susan Lombardi Verticelli, and of course, the fanciful Dr. Vincent Stevens, and the lovely and talented Eric Nelson.
I'm going to leave one meeting and join another.
All right,
Yeah.
So it is so good to be together. So we've got a very, very special episode for you. Are you ready for this, America? Are you ready?
Reunited, and it feels so good.
It is a double header, as they say in baseball.
What? 2 for 1.
You're so sporty.
Coupon.
Woohoo! So does someone want to explain the concept?
Eric?
Okay, so today on this very special episode, we're going to be looking at 2 of our favorite years, which are also back to back. So we're going to, in today's episode, look at 1983 and 1984.
Are you ready for that, America?
Double header.
Mm.
So let's see. Let's start with 1983.
All right.
And think about what were the biggest songs that year. So here's the top 10. I'm not going to read them all. You all can read that yourselves.
Exactly. And I've also featured, these are the albums that actually hit the #1 spot. Now, this is an unusually small number of #1 albums. Do you know why? Does anyone know why?
I don't know why.
Because Thriller was so dominant. It was the #1 album for the majority of 1983, like by far. So it was #1 for 37 weeks total.
Oh my
and
gosh.
its #1 span actually went into 1984.
Isn't it still one of the top?
It is the best-selling album of all time.
All time.
So Men at Work, Thriller, the Flashdance soundtrack, Synchronicity by Sting and others, Quiet Riot's Mental Health, and Lionel Richie's Can't Slow Down were the only 6 albums that hit the #1 spot. And of course, these are the top 10 songs. And I think what's important about these top 10 songs is that many of them also are going to appear as our Record of the Year nominees. So are we ready to delve into
Yeah,
this?
so the nominees, drum roll please, okay, All Night Long by Lionel Richie. All Night Long, All Night. Beat It by Michael Jackson, which was the winner that year. Every Breath You Take by The Police. Flashdance, What a Feeling. Take Your Passion, Make It Happen by Irene Cara.
Exactly.
And Maniac, also from the Flashdance soundtrack, by Michael Sembello.
All right.
So as we often, revisit on Singular, we're going to talk about what the nominees were, get our feedback on those, and then think about who should have been nominated. These are amazing years full of just hit after hit after hit. So we're going to just look at who we all think should have been nominated, and then circle back to who out of these 5 nominees should have won that year. So let's take it from the top and talk about All Night Long by Lionel Richie. So we're going to go from right to left. So Susan, what are your thoughts on Lionel Richie's All Night Long?
I have to say, I just want to say globally about this year. Yeah, tons of hits, but I'm not sure that I would want this year to be the year that represents the 80s. However, it might also be the best representation of the 80s.
Tell us more about that.
Why would you not want this to be the year that represents the 80s?
Well, I'm not sure, even like through this entire group, that there's really some like magical masterpiece that comes out of this. However, we know all the songs, we love all the songs, we want to dance to all the songs. That said, I think All Night Long goes on all night and it's too long. but I love me some Lionel Richie, and I'm proud to have him here, and I'm grateful for this opportunity to honor him.
Very
Okay.
nice. So,
Vincent Stevens.
the 1980s is when Lionel Richie broke from the Commodores and went solo. And I think All Night Long was sort of his first like major, massive solo #1 hit to really make this huge impact. So it was #1 for several weeks. And the video is iconic. I think this song, it's kind of everything in the kitchen sink. He's sort of singing in this sort of pseudo Caribbean patois thing that doesn't really exist. There's like, lots of percussion. There's just a lot of activity going on. And I think it's a very crisply produced song. It's very entertaining, but it is a bit long, and it's very much based around the hook. And there really isn't a lot of
What is
actual
that hook?
content. I think All Night Long.
Oh yeah.
So there's not a
right.
lot of content to the song. It's just like I'm walking down the street and things are happening, and it continues to happen.
Night long.
Exactly.
All night.
So
All night.
so all night ends up feeling like all day, night, and afternoon long. So I think it's a fun, very enjoyable song, but I think it's a little bit of a lightweight.
So what's interesting to me after I listened to the song a few times, which just did take me back to 1983, all I kept thinking was, I cannot figure out the name of this song.
It is a little bit of
it
an
was a
enigma.
mystery, and which I kind of appreciated, because sometimes you don't want everything to just be spoon-fed to you.
Mhm.
I had to work hard for this one.
I had to work hard for this one. This song is too long. It's fun, but in such a stellar year, there are songs that I think are more deserving, perhaps more memorable, more iconic than this song. So, fun. I'm glad to have it on a playlist.
Hey.
But I'm gonna just throw the dice back to Susan and bring it to our next nominee, which is actually, we're gonna skip Michael Jackson because he won. So we're gonna wrap up with Michael. So sometimes I know Susan has been served a noise violation and the police have to show up. So Susan, when that happens,
I take a deep breath.
you take a deep breath. So tell us about that breath.
It's cleansing. It's clean. It's often without much punctuation. And after it's over, it's almost like it never happened. And that's how I feel about this song.
That was very poetic.
Thank you. I kind of want this song to be better.
Okay.
I want this song to take me more places.
What places do you want it to go?
We can talk about it in the after party. But what are we gonna do with it? We're not playing it at birthday parties.
Well, Sean Puffy Combs knew what to do with it. He
He-
recycled all of it for,
There we
Yeah.
I'll be missing you, but
Right. That's what you do with it.
that's
He
what
was
you-
right. No wonder he's a mogul.
I guess. So with this song, part of the challenge with this list is that these songs are so familiar based on our demographic. We've grown up with these songs and heard them so many times, it's easy to take them for granted.
As millennials.
Yeah. And I guess I would say I did not learn anything new about any of these songs listening to them again. And that's not meant to be, it's not meant to denigrate them. It's just like, okay. So this song, I think of all these songs, has in some ways aged the best. I think it sounds the least cheesy because it's basically, it's such a traditional rock song. And it's got like some nice harmonic things going on. It's kind of hypnotic. I think the song, it's got a great melody. It's very memorable. It sort of stays inside your head. I'm not sure that it's the best. It's not my favorite of these songs, but I think it's a song that probably has aged the best and that probably has had the longest life. So that says something. So yeah.
Indeed. Well, it's interesting. I think I grew up in Chicago where one of the rock stations, this song, the opening few notes, or that that very iconic part of the song was played in their commercial for years to sort of be, attract people to listen to this rock station. So this song, if you live in the Chicagoland area, is just everybody just within a second knows the song. So I think there's something iconic and interesting about that. And the fact that this video, the black and white, the Sting by himself, this became sort of one of the templates where, most parodied or referenced moments. So it's interesting when a song sort of elevates into a cultural moment. And this song, I think, tended to do this and sort of made the Police go from being a really successful band to being like unbelievable superstar synchronicity band. So this song, what I also like about this song is it's in a year that's full of so much great pop music. It sort of stands on its own. It isn't indeed. It it doesn't, it's not, nothing else sounds like this song that's out at this time. It is able to sort of bring rock into the pop sphere and then have this cultural moment. I don't know if you'll find out if I'm going to say if this one should have won or not, but I think it's an interesting take in a really crowded year. So I don't know, what feeling do I have right now? I have a flashy, dancey.
A lot of feelings.
I want my
take off my bra. Hold on.
I want my sweatshirt to show one of my shoulders. Susan, remember when you were a metal worker?
Remember that, but I also really wanted to study ballet.
Yeah. But somehow you're a multitasker.
Yeah.
And
It was a still tongue girl on a Saturday night is what you were.
I was looking for the time of my life.
Yeah.
This song has a lot of feelings for me, and they are all like feelings of jubilation and celebration and woman empowerment. And I have to say the opening notes of this song seem very iconic to me. However, I do think at times they can be a detriment to the song because when you finally get into it, it's such an amazing dance tune, but that slow build is hard for just kind of like your average playlist, right?
Yeah.
It's hard for me to separate this song from the film. And for that reason, it makes it such like a heart thumping favorite of mine.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
I would
Vincent?
say, I would echo that. And that, Irene Cara, I think, became most famous for singing the title song from Fame, the movie, and sort of long lingered in the shadows of Donna Summer. Like, she has a very similar sort of hearty sound. But I feel like, so she co-wrote this song with Giorgio Moroder and it won the Oscar.
And the winner is, indeed.
And I think she may be been the first Black or woman of Black descent to actually win an Oscar for the best song. So it kind of has this historical place. This song, it's an inspirational song, and it succeeds in that it hits every note it's aiming for. It's got that slow build, and then, it's a song about jubilation. And I think this is the kind of song it's easy to parody. It sort of rides that border between like sort of genuinely touching and maybe a little bit sentimental or kitschy. But I have to say, of these songs, in many ways, it's a song that probably makes me feel those chills. Like when I hear it, I'm like, oh, I'm about to go on a journey. It's like a 3-minute journey. And by the end, I'm like, yes, I'm like rooting for this song. And also, the scene, the scene that is attached from Flashdance is sort of the sort of basically penultimate scene, which is also the climax, ironically. And it works. So this song gives me feels, and I can't deny that. What a feeling.
Indeed. Without this song, without this movie, would we have had the drenched sheepdog perm?
No.
I feel like, I don't think so. Like, how else? Like, there's so many iconic things around this movie, around this song. And even with that, you would think like, it's so like drowning in like moments of the 80s that you would almost like think, I'm done. Like, I never want to hear the song ever again because it's been so played out. But then you press play and this song sets the table in such an amazing way. And you're on the roller coaster and the thing comes down and you are off.
It delivers.
And like, I don't know, 20, 35 years later, I don't know how many years later the song is, like, it's still
kicking.
It still kicks. So it's funny though, it is Giorgio, whatever.
Moroder,
who wrote, all of these kind of songs. Wasn't Call Me by Blondie was one of his songs.
And he co-wrote, a bunch of Donna Summer tunes.
So
Love
then
You.
they all have these templates of like build and explosion, but they all work. And this one works so nicely. So
if it works, it works.
If it works. So let's all go get our hair permed.
Well.
Yeah, indeed.
Let me get a sweatshirt. Let me cut off the top.
Yes, indeed.
All right.
Okay,
I'll
so
show you
let's-
boys how to take off your bras later.
Oh, nice.
Thank you. So sweet.
So let's stay in the world of Flashdance for a
Okay.
moment longer and see how Maniac makes us feel. Susan?
I have to say, this song, we were talking about it earlier, and I use this song in my repertoire all the time. And
Is this your audition song?
anytime I use
sing
this
it?
song, I jump up and down on my feet and I pretend like I'm warming up to dance. And then I swing my head around and then I scream, "She's a maniac, she's a maniac."
Vincent and I have been whispering that about you for years.
They've also been witnessing this for years.
Happily.
This is a fun song. I'm not sure it stands up there with What a Feeling. I'm interested that 2 songs from the same soundtrack are in the same category
It was a hit.
for Record of the Year. This is like, we talked about it earlier, it's like a workout song. You know, I want to put on my leg warmers and, but I don't know if it like evokes any emotion in me other than wanting to swing my head.
No, I mean,
Yeah.
the quote at the end of the song, la 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 la. I mean, that's actually a part of the lyric. Yeah, I think this song is the epitome of a song of its time. It's obviously built on kind of a synthesizer drum program. It's got that 80s synth feel to it. And I think unlike a song like Flashdance, which actually they tacked on Flashdance because they needed it to have the tie to the movie, but it's really What a Feeling is what the song is about. This song is completely inseparable from the movie. It does not stand on its own outside of the movie.
Right. Good point.
So a person listening to the lyrics would say, wait, a Steel Town girl, like what? So this song almost only makes sense if you have watched the film and you understand where it shows up. So I don't know, I think it's a very well-produced, very polished, energetic song. It literally like mimics the mania of the lyrics. It's a fine phonetic song, but there are songs from 1983 that are more interesting.
Indeed. Yeah, I was listening to this song again. I thought, I actually mentioned this to Susan and Vincent before we started. You know, some song, like as we look for Record of the Year winners, I often think I want the winner to be something that is timeless. It can be a time capsule for its moment. I don't mind that, but I want it to be able to like either be redone or have a revampedness, or the lyrics are so strong or the melody is so good that like it can fit in a variety of different ways. And I don't think this song will ever do that. Like it's sort of time stamped and won't leave this moment. And it's sort of, I guess maybe that's, you know, is perfectly realized for what it is, which is a montage song in a movie. And it, you know, pulls all that in. But it's also, I think you're so exhausted by your workout by the end of it that you've left it behind. It doesn't really stay with you.
You're dancing like you never have before.
Yeah, that's right. Every single time.
I'm a maniac.
The lyrics are very strange and weird in this song. So
It can
I
cut
don't
you
know.
like a knife.
It can be like a knife. And Bryan Adams should get some credit for writing that line. Anyway, I don't know. It's fun. I'm happy to hear it again. I'm not sure if it should be in this list.
We've moved on.
We're moving on. Okay,
All right.
so Susan, let's talk about the winner, which is
Done.
Mr. Michael Jackson and Beat It.
Which I felt like if you watched last or 2 weeks ago, our episode, that there were multiple songs in that list that felt like they had the opening chords to Beat It.
Oh yeah.
Little throwback.
Yeah.
This is not my favorite Michael Jackson song. I'm not sure which Michael Jackson song is my favorite.
Okay.
I think I spoke before I thought about that.
Whatever.
Want to be starting something?
I might want to be starting something. Yeah.
That's a good song.
That's a good song.
Different album.
Okay,
different
gotta
year.
go.
Keep
Gotta
it
go. We're
going.
back. I've said this before, and I worry whenever I hear these songs. I worry about Michael. I worry about the Jackson family, and it's hard for me to separate that.
Okay. So my very first rock concert was Michael Jackson and his brothers. So I had the red jacket, my brother had the glove. So Michael Jackson, like the Thriller album was very iconic for my household, for my life. Like
Shout out to Burden.
me and my siblings were secretly trying to figure out if Michael Jackson was like related to us in some ways.
Of
Ridiculous.
course you would.
So this is what I would say. So this song I think is important because it's like, you know, this is one of the songs that broke the racial barrier on MTV, because MTV was not playing videos by Black artists for the most part. And so the fact that it's a rock song by a Black artist, I think is significant, but also the production values for Beat It were high. Like it's very West Side Story, very like, you know, I mean, I think
Wesley Snipes in the video.
that's right. I think that
Shout out Wesley.
that the lyrics are very, I mean, I think it's sort of an anti-violent song, kind of like it's like, don't solve your problems through violence. But I think Beat It, the hook is weird though, because it's sort of like, well, yeah, but maybe you have some conflicts where you have to stand up for yourself or whatever. I think it's trying to be
Like,
an anthemic song about peace, like
what
Beat
is
It.
it about?
No one wants to be defeated. Children, yeah, it's almost like solving your problem through dance, through like expression and not that.
Do you think that's what the lyrics are saying?
Yeah, it
I don't
doesn't
know
matter.
what the song
This
is.
song, the thing about this song that I think probably stands out is like that opening synthesizer riff,
Oh, so
Eddie
good.
Van Halen's guitar playing,
May he rest in peace.
the synthesis, exactly, the synthesis of Michael Jackson singing style with all of that. It's, I mean, I think sonically it's a very interesting song. Like Quincy Jones produced it, and it sounds great, and it is an iconic song. I'm not sure. I mean, I would have, if in 1983, I would have said that's the winner because it's Michael Jackson. It has to be. But there are songs on Thriller that are better than Beat It.
Mhm.
So I'm not. I think I went in thinking, yep, the Grammy people made the right choice, but I may have a change of heart by the time we get to the next slide. If you know what I mean.
Turn another page and see what happens. Oops. So it's hard for me, and not that this is a bad thing, but to separate the song from the video.
Mhm.
Like they're just intertwined in a way because that video like was so groundbreaking, did so many
Mhm.
things, and also, you know, the dance and the narrative structure in that video I think was also very different from what we were used to seeing perhaps in music videos. But to your point, Vincent, like that opening is just so great. And you know, a lot of these synth songs from the 80s, early 80s, like sound today really plinky, and this doesn't. It sort of sounds modern and expensive and whatnot. And then of course the Eddie Van Halen thing. So I love the rock and pop melding here. It's a super fun song. Always happy to listen to it. I don't know also if it's my favorite one either,
But it's someone's favorite.
but it is someone's favorite.
Including the Grammy people.
Indeed. Okay.
So the next question, of course, as always, who should have been nommed?
Yeah. Susan.
So do you want to start or do you
Nope.
want to? Okay.
Okay, so Vincent's got his diary out. He's gonna spill the tea on this.
We're gonna read it later.
Got my moleskin. All right. So I was thinking about the song. So this is again one of those years when songs that actually were good were also popular. So some of the songs that could have been nominated: "Sweet Dreams" or "Made of These" by the
Rhythmics.
iconic,
Yeah.
smart. "Billie Jean" by Michael Jackson.
Yeah.
Hello. "She Works Hard for the Money."
Ba-dum, ba-dum.
1999, Prince.
Oh!
And "She Works Hard for the Money" is by Donna Summer, for those of you who don't know. And then "Stand Back" by Stevie Nicks.
In the
Period.
middle of my room, I did not hear
Period.
from you.
I think and I will say, "Sweet Dreams" was nominated for a Grammy that year. "Billie Jean" was nominated for Song of the Year and won some R&B Grammy. "She Works Hard for the Money" was nominated for Female Pop Vocal. So, and Stevie Nicks' album that "Stand Back" came from was nominated. So it's not like these artists weren't recognized or didn't get nominated, but I think several of these songs are clearly better than some of the actual nominees for Record of the Year.
Totally. Like Vincent, there's so many. I have a list.
So many.
Which starts with "Total Eclipse of the Heart."
Oh.
Turn around, bright eyes.
I
Like,
want that.
I don't know if that would be but it's that song has endured.
Yeah.
And I think there's something special
It
about
is.
that. "Sweet
Night.
Dreams" also. "Hungry Like the Wolf" by Duran Duran. Oh, what a great song. "Let's Dance" by David Bowie.
Oh.
"Little Red Corvette."
Yes.
1999. "Sexual Healing."
Oh.
Nominated the year before.
But it was in the top 100 that year.
Yep.
Okay,
Mhm.
so that's on my list. "Allentown" by Billy Joel.
Oh, so good.
And
Oh.
that story that song tells.
No.
Irritating.
Oh, I love
Irritating.
"Gloria"
So you
by
ate the
Laura
working
Branigan.
man in
Nominated
Pennsylvania.
The year before. "Our House" by Madness. I love that song.
Mhm.
"Steppin' Out" by Joe Jackson.
Nominated
The year before.
For
And-
Record of the Year.
Oh, well, there you go. It's just, and I write "Tonight." What is "Tonight"?
David
Oh,
Bowie?
no, "Tonight I Celebrate My Love for You."
Oh,
Like, what a
Roberta
beautiful
Flack,
song.
People
Like, why
Bryson.
was that not? What, it's missing here. What's interesting about these 5 songs that were nominated, there's not really a love song in this mix. They're all like, they're celebrating people, either like someone's like independence or their success. Beat It doesn't, but Beat It's not a love
Or The
song either.
Stalking.
Or The Stalking.
Oh, The Stalking.
They're weird. It's an
Police.
interesting when so many years like a love song or that type of song. So it's just interesting to see those deviations in the path this year.
Any thoughts, Susan? Are you
I
good?
just love hearing what you gentlemen said. I support you 100%.
Perfect.
Boom.
Very good.
Boom. Boom.
Yeah.
Ah!
Okay, so we know what
Yeah.
won, but what do we think
What
should
should
have
have
won?
won? Yeah.
Susan?
What a feeling.
Okay.
Done.
Do you want
Done.
to tell us? Anything?
No.
Okay. What a feeling.
Oh my God. What a feeling.
Irene Cara.
Wow.
That song just wins the
Yeah.
day.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It gives me the feels.
Yeah.
I've got the feeling.
I hear it's like it's almost like if I actually listen to the radio. If I was driving and that came on, I almost feel like I want to pull over.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
And
gotta
just
do that.
take
Every
it
time.
in. Like the highway does not deserve to hear it. I just want to take it.
I get chills every time I hear that song.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was 83. Now let's get into 84. So the top 10 songs, you can see we got Prince, Tina Turner, Van Halen, very, very
Footloose.
poppy list. These top albums, the Footloose soundtrack, Sports by Huey Lewis and the News, Born in the USA by Bruce Springsteen, and the Purple Rain soundtrack. These are 4 of the albums that were #1 albums that year. Interestingly enough, Tina Turner and Cyndi Lauper had breakthroughs with Private Dancer and She's So Unusual. Neither of these albums hit #1, but they're very significant albums of the year.
They're
So I
great
included
albums.
them
Both of them
because-
are great.
Yeah.
Exactly.
If you do not own
Exactly.
these, if
Go
they're not,
buy them.
go
Run
buy
out
them.
and
They're
go to the
amazing.
store.
We are
Go to
not endorsed
Spotify
by
or-
these albums, but you should go and buy them.
Yeah.
We're not endorsed by these albums. I love it.
Okay, so the nominees and winner that year, Vincent, if you don't mind. Okay, drum roll, please. First up is Dancing in the Dark by Bruce Springsteen. Girls Just Want to Have Fun, Cyndi Lauper, Wake Up in the Morning Light. Next up, Hard Habit to Break by Chicago. The Heart of Rock and Roll by Huey Lewis and the News. There's some Huey Lewis fans here. Oh, and the winner, which is What's Love Got to Do with It by Tina Turner.
Got to do with it. All right.
So why don't instead we're gonna start with Vincent this time because we
Uh-oh.
went Susan. So go Vincent, Susan, Eric.
Okay.
So Vincent, where do you dance? In the light, in the dark? Where's your dancing happening?
Sometimes with medium lighting, depending on if it's up or down.
Okay.
So Bruce Springsteen had a breakthrough with Born in the USA. I think Dancing in the Dark it's a rock song that actually has kind of a nice groove to it. There was a big deal made about this song because he uses synthesizers in it, which for rock people was like a thing in 1984, like whatever, who cares? But I think this song, like other Bruce Springsteen songs, on the surface it seems like it's one thing, but it's a little deeper and darker than I mean, you can dance to it, but it's got a story. I love this song. It's very iconic. It's very hypnotic. It's very Bruce. I mean, I think it certainly is a very deserving nominee. Again, maybe not necessarily my favorite song by him or even my favorite song on the album, but I think it's a great song, a great record. I'm with it. When it's on, I'm like, yes, like I'm completely living the story he's taking me on, the journey we're going on, and I'm like, thanks.
He can't
Bruce.
get his book written.
Oh my God.
Susan.
I mean, I think you were saying iconic and Bruce and like his pop song. And I think this is where like Bruce proves to us that he can like cut it down and like deliver what the masses want. I mean, we all love Bruce and, you know, we're come see us. But, you know, I think like
Joy-Z.
Vincent was saying, the breakthrough to the mainstream has been a little bit harder for him. Of course, now everyone knows who he is. And I think this was a beautiful, fabulous, wonderful breakthrough song for him, and also stands the test of time. Like we can listen to this
Oh my
song
God,
today.
It's not embarrassing.
And we're going to be okay with
Cimbello.
Mhm.
this. Yeah.
It's interesting. Like I agree. This like our last round winner. What a feeling! Like the moment you put the song on, it just sets the table so nicely, and it delivers for I don't know, probably 3.5 minutes. It's not too long. It perfectly builds. It's got a great sound to it. And what I think is also really interesting about this song and this album is not only I think if you read the history of it, Bruce actually purposely decided to make an album with hits. Like there was an intentionality to the making of the song. But what's not really spoken about is he somehow decided or was able to pull off that he could articulate all of the sounds of every word. Like he never again can be fully understood, like in terms of mumble mouth on any of his other songs. And I wish I could figure out what happened and how we could replicate that in his future recordings.
Send him an
I
email.
should send him an email.
Yeah.
But that
call
crispness,
him.
like, why just do that in this album and not others? Anyway, that's my beef with Bruce, because I sometimes just can't understand what on earth that man is singing when he sings.
This is true.
Tis true. But this is a great song, great album, super fun. Yeah.
Okay.
So speaking of super fun, why don't we go to Girls Just Want to Have Fun? They
All
just
right.
wanna.
So as Eric noted, She's So Unusual is a great album. It is like that album where every single song is a winner.
Boom, boom, boom.
But I think the song deservedly is sort of its most notable hit. I mean, I just think there's something very important. And you know, when the song came out, I remember the video on MTV, all this stuff. Something very important about women saying, like, we deserve to be able to relax and enjoy our lives and have fun and just be full human beings. And I love the video where she's, you know, with you know, her quote unquote parents, and when she's in the street with other women. It's just like this great celebratory anthem, but it also is a very stunning record. It's very vibrant. Even though it's got like synthesizer stuff all over, again, it doesn't sound cheesy. It sort of springs to life from the very beginning, that opening riff, and it just never lets up. But you know, it's not annoying because it's got color and texture. And like Cyndi Lauper is a really gifted musician as well. So the interesting thing about this song is that it was written by a guy named Eric Hazard. But she, in 1978, I believe, she actually updated the song and changed some of the lyrics and refined it and adapted it, but he would not give her writing credit, even though like what we hear is actually her sort of variations on the theme, so whatever. But I think that it's a wonderful performance. It's Ace's. Again, I think it is one of at least 3 songs in this group that is a classic. So yay, Cyndi.
Yeah, I think.
Speaking of girls that want to have fun.
I think it's really easy to dismiss women, especially in our culture. And I think that often Cyndi Lauper and this song get dismissed, people not realizing how iconic it is, what a great song it is, how much fun it is, and actually what the song is trying to say. So I think it often gets dismissed and kind of with, you know, Cyndi Lauper's kind of like kooky style and her, you know, different voice. This song is a blast. This song, to Vincent's point, you know, about women wanting to be able to take up space and be in spaces and just be able to have fun or fundamental rights.
Okay.
So yeah, I think this song is fantastic. Right now I want to go and play it. Like I want to go put it on right now. Yeah.
Well, to both of your points, it's interesting that, you know, this wasn't Cyndi Lauper had been in a band that had a record deal, and actually some of the songs off her debut album with that group actually end up on her second album, True Colors, that are interesting. So just worth checking out as well. That album's really good. But it's interesting, I think, that because of the title of this song and how it can be perceived, that it could have, you know, and it being her first single, it would have set the tone of somebody who perhaps was a little lighter or not really having a voice or owning her own liberation. But this song does all of that. And the risk of releasing it as the first single, like, and perhaps putting her in a certain box, she's such a talent. To your point, Vincent, she rewrites the lyrics to sort of to make it this feminine anthem that it is. And it delivers on all of that without you as a listener having to work hard at all to get that across. So it's so well done. It's such a fun song. And I love that it's endured the test of time. Not just that it sounds great, but it's still people like flock to this song. And it still delivers on its empowering message. So with a great dance beat. And I love that there's a little fun fact that the record company that this album is from, all of the women in the video worked at that record label. So they were shooting it and they were like, oh, we need people. And they just got out, they got all these workers from the company to be in a video. So if you were like, I don't know, account executive Linda, maybe you ended up
Linda was having
in a video like that now your kids can see.
Good
Like
old
it's
Linda.
super fun. So from sort of a buoyant, you know, romp with a great message, let's go to different tone song, Vincent. So Hard Habit to Break by Chicago.
Okay, Chicago. Okay, so Chicago as people know, debuted in 1969. So like Blood, Sweat, and Tears, they were considered a jazz rock, but there's never been anything jazzy or swinging about Chicago. They've always been a band that basically makes mid-tempo rock songs and ballads, and they have like a big elaborate horn section. I think Rolling Stone magazine or Rolling Stone's album guide from the 90s called it, sort of captured them best by saying it's sort of like a marching band wigging out on pot. That's how their sort of 60s music sounded, and that was not meant to be a compliment. They've always been considered, I think, a little bit square, but I think what happens with them is that in the late 70s, they really lose their footing. Late 70s, early 80s is really tough for them. They don't have a lot of hits. So they get hooked up with David Foster, and he turns them into the power ballad group. So they start singing song after song, hit after hit, with power ballads sung by Peter Cetera, which actually ends up breaking up the group in terms of Peter Cetera leaving. Okay, so Hard Habit to Break, I think it's a very typical Chicago power ballad. It's very produced, it's very arranged. I know David Foster won a few Grammys for the vocal arrangement on the song and for the arrangement and everything, the orchestration and stuff. It's a lot of production for a pretty thin song. I mean, I feel like this is the kind of song that's sung by men who aren't actually sensitive, trying to sound sensitive. And it's sort of like why I don't care for, exactly. Well, it's why I don't care for a band like Journey or Styx. I just find it very, I don't find Chicago, I can't think of a single Chicago song that I find emotionally compelling or essential. That doesn't mean they don't have songs that are, like I know this song, they have songs that are catchy. Of all the songs that came out that year, it's fascinating to me that something so banal and so kind of frankly overdone is even in this group. I don't think it stands up at all. So.
Suze.
What did you say? Not essential and
banal?
Before that.
Insensitive?
Maybe.
Oh, I don't find any Chicago songs emotionally compelling.
Emotionally compelling.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why, and they're very like thin, you were talking about. And like the only thing I could think of when I saw this on the list is like, I think this song just wants me to like drive around with a boy at night and make out.
Okay. Is that a genre of song?
That's a good genre.
Thin, not emotionally compelling.
Well, right.
Sounds like a lot of love lives on this particular video, but that's a different podcast.
I don't know. Like, sure, you put it on, you'd sing a chorus, and then you'd forget about it.
You have to, because the verses don't say much.
Ooh.
Living without you takes a lot of getting used to. Well, that's profound.
Indeed. I like Chicago songs, but in their place.
Also from Chicago.
Yes, indeed. So I also have this, tied to them that way. Though, they're all the same. They're all the same. They're very pleasant. They're in a category of music I think of like, oh, I need to focus a little bit and get some work done. I'm going to put this on in the background because it's pleasant to listen to, but doesn't expect too much of me as a listener. So that's sort of, so to, Vince's point here, like, is this the sort of groundbreaking, iconic, live forever kind of song that should be on this list? Probably not, but I like it. I'm happy to listen to it. So,
would you drive around with a boy and make out?
Sure.
Okay.
Totally. So speaking of that, moving on to our next song is "The Heart of Rock and Roll" by Huey Lewis and the News. So Vincent, why don't you uncork your feelings about Huey Lewis and the News?
Well, as we've discussed before, Huey Lewis and the News has appeared, they appeared 2 years in a row in the Grammy Record of the Year category, and we have some folks who are very passionate about Huey Lewis. I don't know about the News. I find their music very insipid. That doesn't mean they don't know how to bait a hook. They know how to write a catchy song. Funnily enough, this is not one of them. I don't find this song to be, it doesn't really rock. It's not fun enough. It's not serious enough. It's not anthemic enough. It's like this compilation of lots of different cliches, all sort of sandwiched together. And we're all supposed to be like, yeah, well, this is so great and so moving and such a great anthem. I think this is like a glorified bar band song. How it made it to this list, fascinating. I'm not surprised it was a hit because, pop radio in the 80s liked to program a lot of pablum. But this song is not remarkable. Ooh. It's not special. There's nothing about it that there's nothing about it that I find that interesting. So I don't get it. Millions of people bought Sports. So obviously I something, but it's funny. like if This Is It from that album,
It's a great song.
that would be a little bit more engaging. Not an amazing song, but it'd be a little bit more interesting. I don't get it. So I'm not here for this song at all.
Okay, Susan.
We all know that I enjoy some Huey Lewis and the News music. We also know that someone on this panel has a really big crush on Huey Lewis. We won't say who. But I will say about this song that if I'm going to sing this song, I'm going to sing The Heart of Rock and Roll.
Cleveland.
Yeah, and that's about all I got. It's not my favorite off the album. It's not my favorite Huey Lewis and the News song, but it makes me thump along.
As long as
Thumpa,
somebody's
thumpa,
thumping.
thumpa, 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 thumpa. I also am a Huey Lewis and the News fan. I think they're a fun band to listen to. I owned Sports when it came out. There's some really, I think, good songs on that album.
Good for you.
Though this one was always my least favorite. I would actually skip this song when I would listen to the album. Like I would actually literally pick up the thing. Because I don't find it very memorable or interesting. If This Is It, I love Heart and Soul. That I think is a really great song.
That's a catchy one.
Yeah, totally. So I also am sort of perplexed as like maybe like this, the nominees got written on a piece of paper that had other songs that were considered, and somebody made the
They
mistake.
mixed it up or
They
something.
mixed it up, and that's how it got in. I really don't know either. So that takes us to our winner this year. So yeah, Vincent Stevens, a few weeks ago when we had a mailbag question about which is our favorite record of the year winner of all time, you said this song actually is your favorite record of the year winner of all time. So I think you've got some
splaining.
You've got some splaining to do right here.
Well, I think the short of it is that when Tina Turner had a hit with this, she was, in her early 40s, so she was making a comeback. And it's not like Tina Turner hadn't made some solo records, but she still was technically part of the Ike Turner thing, even when she had solo hits in the 70s. This song, I just think it's so, again, from the very beginning, it just sets a tone that's iconic. It's got this mood, it's got this almost kind of icy, cool vibe to it. And I think that the lyric is very bittersweet because it's like somebody saying like, love is this thing that's, it's kind of a pain, and it's painful and it's difficult and it's challenging, but human beings love, so you've got to make do with it and deal with it. And some of the lyrics, like, it's only natural, it's only physical, whatever the reason, it's just very like, it's got this very sober take. But I think that she rescues it. Like, it's not like you in the song, like, oh my God, Tina Turner is so sad and so bitter. You're just like, wow, this person is taking this very emotionally kind of cool look at this thing and just dealing with it. And the video, she's just like strutting. You're just like, yes, Tina. Like, you're just, yes.
She's solving everyone's problems in that video.
Exactly. It's just like, I feel like this is one of those songs that, again, it's like this really talented artist finally gets a song that just captures their essence. And I also want to point out, it's the only song of these nominees that also was nominated for Song of the Year and it won. So as a composition, it also stands up. And I don't know if anybody's really tried to remake this. I don't think you can. I don't think you can touch this. I just think it just kind of is what it is. And so yeah, I think it works on every level. And the performance is amazing. The song is amazing. I'm here for it. I hear this and it warms the heart, sort of somewhat ironically. It warms the heart. I'm just here with it.
Okay. Susan, what are you here for with this song?
I have to say, I kind of love that we're discussing Girls Just Want to Have Fun and What's Love Got to Do with It in the same category, because I think this is like another example of women saying, like, these are my feelings. This is what I am experiencing. And I'm not here for your judgment. I'm not here for your opinion. I'm just here to tell you. And Miss Tina comes in and takes us on a ride, and she actually doesn't care if we like it or not, right?
Totally.
She is just fine. And this song is beautiful. It shows such an incredible voice from her. I love the lyrics. I think it's fantastic.
It is a fantastic song, so I echo all of that. This year, actually, it's 1984, so we're a little bit into the 80s. To me, this is when the 80s became the 80s. Like, how like a decade kind of holds over a little bit from like, it still feels like the 70s for a few years, or that, it still feels like the 80s into the 90s a bit. Like, to me, this is when, and I just, whenever I think of the 80s, it's that video, it's this video of this song, it's this song, it's that like when she digs deep and just releases that sort of growl and that knowing sort of world weariness, but also like just hypnotic. Like, she just delivers the song in such an amazing way. And it's such a, it's an earworm, but like in a very like behind the scenes kind of way. Like, it gets in without, it works its magic without letting you know it's working its magic. It doesn't try too hard. It just pulls it off.
It just lets itself in.
Yeah, it just lets, it's so nice. It's a great song. And I also love that she didn't like this song.
Yeah.
Like, she didn't want to record this song. She didn't want, like, this was not the business she wanted to be in.
Nope.
Yet, so she then, finds a way to sing it and just make it a Tina Turner
song. A little
song.
rougher. I think I don't know what the demo of it sounded like, but I think she didn't think it had enough edge.
Yeah.
And it was written by a man. I think Terry Britton, somebody, but you would not know that.
Right.
Like, I feel like it's got such a strong female perspective.
Well, I think that speaks to her delivery of this song. Like,
Yes.
she like so deservedly won Best Female Vocal that year. Though Cyndi Lauper like sings the shit out of Girls Just Wanna Have Fun. Like, that was a category, that was a competition that year. So yeah, great song, just great. So who should have been nominated? Susan,
do you want to start?
I can start. So I have an even longer list for this year.
This is an amazing year.
It's an amazing year, and another, Time After Time by Cyndi Lauper,
so good.
which was nominated for Song of the Year this year. But so When Doves Cry, Prince. Like, how is there no Prince being nominated?
I don't get it.
This is the Purple Rain year.
Prince gets snubbed a lot.
He does.
Yeah.
He does.
And
May
Let's
he
Go
rest in peace.
May
Crazy.
he rest in
Yeah. Footloose. I love that song. Against All Odds. I think I had mentioned this earlier to Susan and Vince before we got on camera, or perhaps I texted this to them. I think the Grammys missed a huge opportunity to have two songs named Jump nominated in the same year. Jump by Van Halen and Jump for My Love by the Pointer Sisters. Like, great songs there. Let's Hear It for the Boy. I know there's someone on this podcast who loves
favorite
that
song of all time.
Yeah. Karma Chameleon by right, like that song. So I love Duran Duran. So The Reflex, Ta-na-na-na, do. Just a couple more. Hold Me Now by the Thompson Twins. It's just such a sweet song. I love it. Okay, just a couple more and then I'll let us all go. The Glamorous Life by Sheila E. Just like rocks and rocks and rocks. I Can Dream About You is a great.
Oh yes, by Dan Hartman.
By Dan Hartman.
Beautiful
song.
Perfect.
And I'll just say one more because I have a few more on this. But my favorite, Madonna, Borderline, is just such a charming, great song. So those are some of the ones on my list.
Well, to echo Eric, Against All Odds, Phil Collins, which was nominated for Song of the Year. Time After Time, Cyndi Lauper would also be a great choice. I love Drive by the Cars.
I'd hate that song.
When Doves Cry, Let's Go Crazy. I Feel For You, Shaka Khan,
Yes.
Shaka Khan. I mean, and
that won the R&B.
That did, and that was one of the first R&B songs to have like a rap element. Though she didn't love the Melly Mel thing, that was added after. So she doesn't love, but it doesn't matter. That was groundbreaking. I also have Jump by Van Halen, though I think Jump by the Pointer Sisters would also be a respectable choice. So yeah, I think that is a year that's just overflowing with great songs.
Yeah. You could like pick any of the 5 songs this year except for The Heart of Rock and Roll on the top 100, and it would be a good list of nominees.
Well, I wonder too, these songs that we're all talking about now that could have been or should have been nominated, you put these on any playlist now and people know these songs, right?
Yeah.
Even people that are a few years younger than us know
There's
these
no such thing.
songs. Right. But where is Let's Hear It for the Boy? That's my favorite song of all times. I love that song.
Well, it was nominated in the pop category, I think, for the single, and then in the R&B category for the album. So I will say, like, Denise, and she may have been nominated for a gospel Grammy too, because she also does religious music. So Niecy, she does okay at the Grammys.
She does.
I feel like Prince is getting snubbed left and right.
Yeah, it's odd to me.
It's very, and that not just was Purple Rain such a big album. But he won an Oscar that
Right,
year for Purple Rain.
Right.
Not only score, but song. Like,
Yeah.
so it's very weird.
I mean,
that
he did win several Grammys that night for Purple Rain, the album. So he didn't go home empty-handed the night, but none of his singles won, which I find very weird.
Yeah.
All right.
Very strange.
So
who
who should have taken home the gold?
Vincent?
Well, I believe it should have been the actual winner. What's Love Got to Do with It? I just think that song is stellar. It's outstanding. It's actually one of the few songs from the 80s that's in the Grammy Hall of Fame, which is for like sort of like really significant recordings. So, you know, a breakthrough. And I like what you said. Like, I feel like the idea of the 80s coming into its own, like the 80s having its own voice. It's not disco. It's not funk. It's not this, it's not that. It's like the 80s has its own sheen. And I think that song just, it's so, yeah, it just captures the era. And I would say, like, if girls just want to have fun, I would not have been mad at it. But it was Tina Turner's year.
Yeah. Susan?
Well, I picked The Heart of Rock and Roll. No, just kidding. I'm kidding. I picked What's Love.
Medic!
Love
Got to do with it. That's what I picked.
Okay.
I'm gonna just let the cat out of the bag. I picked What Love Got to Do with
Yay!
It. But well, they're not really about. I too would have been very happy if Girls Is Fun and Fun or Dancing in the Dark. I think those are both those three songs. Ooh. I think that one just delivers in all of its. I've already said that, so I don't need to say it. But I think all three of those. But I was so happy that Tina won.
Yes, absolutely.
The vocals on that, the song, the whole journey of it. And you know, I remember as a kid thinking, oh, like love can be like raw and different, and it doesn't have to be about you know, white horses and Prince Charming.
She made you think.
Yeah, I like that there was actually sort of this modern take that was being spoken about in sort of this public sphere that like took the meaning of love in a very different but real direction that I thought was really, you know. So go Tina, go to what that song was written
And
about.
I would say if you search for it, you can find the 1985 Grammy Award ceremony. And Tina Turner, like, she kicks off the show. She's walking on the stairway. She's got on this like sort of red dress and her wig. And like the audience is just, she already won the night. Like it's very clear that people were like ready to celebrate her. And Leonard Bernstein, of all people, was huge Tina Turner fan.
I believe.
Like that just is like Leonard Bernstein, you know? So,
all right, ladies and gentlemen, this has been a very special episode of Singular, where we, of course, discuss record of the year and come together only after getting COVID tests.
yes, we're negative.
And social distancing.
Yes.
And wearing masks.
Sanitize those hands.
And vote.
People.
And don't forget to vote. And please check us out on Facebook, Pod Singular. And of course, you can follow us on Twitter at Podcast Singular. And of course, you can always see our episodes on YouTube, Podcast Singular. Don't forget to click like and subscribe and ring that bell. Thanks for joining us, ladies and gentlemen. We'll see you next time. And just remember, it's an honor
Just
to be
being
nominated.
Yes. All right.
Ciao.
Ciao, Bella.
Ciao.